Hello, Cliff Stanwick, Stanwick Real Estate. And this week, I'm going over the real estate market update for South Placer County. And I want to thank you for joining me today. I wish there was, some crazy thing going on with the housing market, but this is a market that is driven by inventory, and the inventory isn't changing. And that's really the story here. Sellers are priced into their house to stay. The low interest rates, the money that they have financed, refinanced last year, they're not going anywhere. And this market has been marked by basically only three types of sellers, and that is divorce or relationship parting, death of one of the owners, or you're relocating out of state. And the market it's moving. So again, I just want to hit up my disclaimer. This material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. I'm sure everybody has a real estate agent, but I want to hop into the numbers, and I'm going to start with my screen share. This is last week's data. And last week's data is pretty much the same story. We have 176 pendings. The housing numbers went up about 6 houses. We got 195 pendings, 176 actives. 103 of them are pending in less than 20 days. That means we have inventory in Roseville that is less for a month. That means still almost 53 are in contract in less than 20 days. We have 2 short sales, which are no change, which again would tell you if this market is, if it's stressed or whatever. It isn't. We basically had no changes in the short sales or REOs versus last week. Rockland, under a month of inventory. The inventory in Lincoln, it's up a little bit, but look at the numbers of pending less than 20 days. 60% in Rockland, 62% in Lincoln, 77% in Granite Bay are pending in less than 20 days, and Loomis, 55%. These are expensive homes when you start looking at Granite Bay and Loomis. And because of that, you'll notice in some of the data with the homes, right, that there is some fluctuation. The median price and the average price in Granite Bay is about the same, but it's at $1.17 million. Loomis, the average price is a lot higher than the median, but the median went down a little bit. The big difference we're seeing is a little bit in Roseville. We're seeing a little softening in some of the prices. The sellers are going out and they're pricing their houses appropriately because they need to sell. Okay, the houses that aren't selling in this market are the people who have to have a price. And when you're looking at 30% or 40% more in your monthly mortgage, if you can even do an equity swap, and you're most likely not getting a better home, well, if your agent didn't deliver the truth about how this market is working, you're not selling. And that's really the gist of the story with this housing market, right? So one of the things I am going to show you, because you may just think I'm cooking up the numbers here, but I have I'm a member of the MLS, and I'm going to share my screen again. And we're going to go look at basically the new pendings. There's 31 new listings, but there's 14 pendings, okay? So we're going to look at the 14 pendings, and this is basically the same market watch that we're talking about. So this is loading live, and I just want to show you the time on market, okay? House in Lincoln was a relist, 7 days. It was 525. 7 days in Lincoln, 575. 6 days, 445. 11 days, 509,000. All right, 98 days, sold for 800. So even people who are holding on to their price are selling their house. They may not be getting 800,000, but you can just hold on, hold out, and your house is selling, right? Here's 6 days for 1,050,000 in Auburn. Okay. Here's 14 days in Roseville for 650. Here's 7 days in Granite Bay for 1,098,000. Here's 8 days in Roseville for 500. Here's 5 days in Roseville for 609. Here's 334 days in Roseville for 858. Here's 14 days in Rockland. Here's 10 days. Here's 48 days. Right. So this is the story. Right. There's no inventory. If you want to sell, sell. There's buyers out there. They're somehow figuring out how to buy your house, even though the rates are approaching 7%, right? And it just goes on and on. So I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back to to my screen share here. I'm going to show you the sales, right? These are the sales that have marketed updated today, right? So I'm going to go down here, and the thing will load, and we had 20 closes. So we're seeing some market activity. If you look at that, you had 20 closes, right? So there was 19 houses and that were sold. And I'm just going to knock off the prices here. 13 days, 460, 445. 9 days on a condo, basically $5,000 off the price. 25 days in Lincoln for 800, $5,000 more than the price. A condo, $14,000 below the price. Here's 3 days in Auburn, 450, 450. Here's 4 days in Roseville, $100 more than the listing. Here's 4 days in Rockland, sold for 501, basically $2,500 over the listing. Here's 103 days, right? You'd think you'd get a big smacking discount for a house that's been on the market for over 3 months, and it's Open Door. Even Open Door sold a house for 642 versus 669, so that was 26,500 light. Here's a house in Rockland for $1,075,000. It sold in 7 days. There was a small discount of 50,000. I know that's a lot of money. Here's a house in Granite Bay for 93 days, and there was only a $50,000 discount. That is pretty typical. 1.8 million, right? Here's a house, 51 days in Granite Bay. And again, Granite Bay is desirable. They're on their 51. They gave up $20,000 to sell their house. The market went up 40% on that house probably over the last 2 years. They gave up 20 grand, but they sold it, right? And that's the new market, right? Here's 17 days, 549, 549. Here's a 7-day house in Roseville, listed at 625, sold for 640. Here's a house in Roseville, listed for 675, sold for 730. Had a pool, was on Buena Vista. Here's a house in Roseville, listed for 105 days. It went out at 719. It sold for $730,000. All right, here's a house that's been on the market for 30 days. 775, sold for 765. Here's a house that's been on the market for 56 days. It sold for a $5,000 discount. It sold for 874. Here's a house that was on the market for 185 days, and it sold for $15,000 less, 535 versus a 550 list. And here's a house, 10 days in Rockland, $1,089,000 listed, sold for a $14,000 discount. So that's the market. It ain't falling apart. It isn't going to be a buyer's market anytime soon. But sellers are pricing their house to sell because they're one of the 3 types of buyers that need to sell. There's either a relationship issue, which could be a death or a divorce or parting of the property. And there's also business relocation, where people are relocating out of state. And we hear about people leaving California or or going to or taking a different job. The job market's hot, and a lot of people are using this opportunity to move. So that is really the market. And I just wanted to share with you the data and how it's going. How it's going is if you're thinking about selling, why aren't you selling? Because it obviously looks like things are selling. If you price it right, you'll be down the road in 20 days. If you want to hang on to your price, it seems like that's working as well. And buyers, you need to be talking to your lenders and figuring out how you get a better rate on your mortgage. We're seeing a little softness in the rates today because of some of the banking challenges with the rate hikes have put a lot of pressure on bank assets. And so I think you're going to see in the next week or two an opportunity to see the rates go down and possibly buy your house. So if I can help you doing either buying or selling a house in South Placer, I'd love you to reach out to me. I'd also appreciate it if you would subscribe to my Facebook page at Cliff Stanwick Real Estate, and also on my YouTube channel, which is Cliff Stanwick Real Estate. And you can always reach me on my website, which is stanwickre.com. Thank you, and have a great day.